Are you like me? And you're sick and tired of seeing Republicans and Democrats alike put the wants, the needs, and the greeds of billionaires and corporations over us, the American people? You know, there have been surveys for decades now and what the American voter wants and what the American voter gets. Over 90% of all Americans want free universal health care. That's a fact. How hard would it be for our politicians to deliver on that? We spend more money on so-called defense. Now it's called the Department of War. You know, the presidents of no war. We spend more money on our military than Russia, China, and the next 10 countries in line combined. If we halved our $1.4 trillion military budget, that's annual. That's every year. $1.4 trillion. That's 1,000 billion and 400 billion. That's $1,400 billion goes to making war. If we halved that, we'd still outspend China, Russia, and India by like 3 times as much. No. Education, state colleges used to be free in our country. But the same Christian fanatic, racist, bigoted Christian fanatics back in the 60s and 70s started seeing a bunch of brown and black people educate themselves in free state colleges. So Ronald Reagan from California, when he became president, says, you know what? We can't be having a bunch of educated brown and black people in this country. We need to stop putting price tags on education in this country. And I'm not going to get into all the minutiae of it, but that's literally what it was. It was a Christian national group that literally pushed for legislation to stop allowing minorities going to free state schools. That's a fact. The richest country in the world, we have the highest medication costs. The richest country in the world, we have the highest health insurance costs. We have so many homeless people and people living below the poverty line, but yet we spend $1.4 trillion, $1,400 billion a year on weapons of war. We have billionaires in this country that are worth $100, $200, $300 billion. They park all their money in untaxable accounts or keep them in stocks in the companies that they own, and they can go to a bank and borrow $500 million, $1 billion, $2 billion against what they own in just stocks and never pay a nickel in taxes on them stocks or anything they get from borrowing from the banks until they sell the stocks off, because you don't pay taxes on a loan. There are so many laws to favor the ultra wealthy, the 0.1%. There's been points in time where I have literally paid more in federal taxes than Elon Musk. How does a billionaire go a whole fiscal year without paying 1 penny in federal income taxes? Make it make sense. Make it make sense that we're the richest country in the world and we have the most homeless people than any developed country on the planet. Make it make sense that we were once first in education and now we're in the bottom half. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that every single time there is a Republican president in the White House, our national debt skyrockets and our GDP plummets. That is a fact. That is not me being partisan. It is a statistical fact, and the maths add up. How is it that Donald Trump in his last 4-year term added almost $1 third to our national debt, and he's more than likely about to double it over the next 4 years. 6 bankruptcies bailed out by Russian state banks. Used to use his casinos to allow Russian mafia to launder their ill-gotten gains in his casinos. He was fined for it dozens of times. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that Donald Trump on live national television is literally telling the Department of Justice to go after people when the Department of Justice is supposed to be separate from the White House. That the White House, if they ask the Department of Justice to investigate or go after anyone, that is a breach of the Constitution and is completely and utterly illegal and breaks so many laws it would take me an hour to explain them all. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that Republicans are more concerned with taking away freedoms and rights of trans people and gay people, that they turn a blind eye to people that have committed pedophilia. Make it make sense to me that we have elderly veterans in our country that have to make decisions every month. Do they buy food? Do they pay their rent? Or do they buy life-saving medicines? Because they can't have all three. And then we have 2 people in this country worth more money, they have more wealth than the bottom 81% of us. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that my tax bracket and my wife's tax bracket is higher than a billionaire's. Because we pay around a third of our overall income, while billionaires pay under 10%. Are you not frustrated? We have the President of the United States calling the people, American citizens, other human beings, American citizens whose blood runs red, white, and blue too. Scum, vermin, enemy, radicals should be locked up, separated. Really? That's the type of guy you want in the White House? The guy who's made more money in the past 6 months off of gifts and donations from literal dictatorships and autocracies, made more money in the past 6 months using the White House as his own personal piggy bank than in his previous 20 years before being president. Oh, but Joe Hunter's laptop. Hunter's laptop. Oh. Really? Because every single one of Trump's kids has quadrupled their net worth. They go to meetings, oh, my daddy's president, give me $1 billion. Kushner, on Trump's last term, the Saudi government gave him $2 billion, and nobody knows why still. And we got everybody in the country, oh, poor Charlie Kirk, whitewashing the fact that he literally made his money off dividing our country, off spewing racist, bigoted rhetoric. I could pull up 1,000 videos right now of Charlie Kirk calling black people names, saying black people and brown people should be segregated, that the biggest mistake our American government ever made was not stomping out the civil rights movement right in its birth. Saying that, yeah, if an 11-year-old girl is raped by her father, she should be made to carry that child to term. Really? He was like Mother Teresa of Calcutta all of a sudden. I didn't see any flags flown half-staffed. Right? When over a dozen Democratic leaders have been killed over the past 15 years. The majority of them over the past 5. Over 70% of this country is not all right with what's happening. Trump's overall approval ratings is in the low 30s. We have 7 in 10 American farmers in danger of going bankrupt in the next 90 days. Unemployment's getting sky high again. Our GDP is taking a fall again. What's going on? Where are all these Second Amendment guys? Second Amendment for the past 50 years. My entire life, that's all our Second Amendment for a tyrannical government. Well, I got fucking news for you. There's a tyrannical government in charge right now. Taking away freedoms of speech. Taking away freedoms of assembly. Literally sicking the military on American citizens. But it's alright because they're brown and black American citizens, right? Second Amendment. Just remember, when Democrats are in charge, I don't want to hear a fucking word about your Second Amendment and how we need it to fight a fucking tyrannical government the next time 47 little kids are shot dead in a school. Because some fucking lunatic had a machine gun that should have never have had one. Libertarians, liberals, leftists, sane Republicans and independents, we are the vast majority of America. And we're allowing a small radical minority to bully us into submission. Where is your pride in country? Where is your honor? Where is your dignity?